In 2018, a 33-year-old LeBron James, in his 15th season, took a gutted Cleveland roster, dragged it to a 4th straight NBA Finals, and led the entire league in the two stats that best measure a player's total value. Most players are declining at 33. LeBron was leading the planet. So let's actually answer it with stats, advanced numbers, signature games, and the words of the men who had to guard him. Just how good was 2018 LeBron? We'll build the case in layers. The regular season numbers, the advanced metrics and where they ranked, the absurd playoff run, the signature games that became legend, and finally, what his own opponents said about trying to stop him. Everything here is verified. By the end, you'll understand why a lot of people call this the most impressive individual season of his entire career. This is Game is Culture. If you love the deep dives on the all-time greats, hit subscribe. We're chasing 1,000. It's free and it genuinely helps. Now, the regular season. The regular season. Start with the basic line. 27.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 9 assists a game. He led his team in points, rebounds, and assists. The full triple crown of a one-man offense. And he did it on 54% shooting from the field. Elite efficiency for a player carrying that kind of scoring load. Now the number that still doesn't feel real. In 2017-18, LeBron played all 82 games. Every single one. It's the only time in his entire 20-plus year career that he played a full 82-game season. And he did it at age 33. On top of that, he led the whole NBA in total minutes. More than 3,000. The oldest workhorse in the league was also the busiest. And he stretched his game out. He knocked down 149 three-pointers that season, the most he had ever made in a single year up to that point in his career, on 37% shooting. Combine the volume scoring, the efficiency, and the new range, and his true shooting sat at 62%. At 33, he wasn't just surviving, he was the most complete he'd ever been. Now picture it in 90s terms. Say the last basketball you really watched was the 1990s. Here's the translation. Picture a man built like Karl Malone, 6'9", 250 pounds of muscle, a true power forward's frame. Now hand that man the court vision and passing of Magic Johnson, and the downhill attacking scoring of Michael Jordan. In the 90s, those were 3 different Hall of Famers. In 2018, that was one player every single night. And here's the part that should really land for a 90s fan. Michael Jordan had already retired once by the age LeBron was in 2018, and he won his final title at 35. Most of the legends you remember were fading or already gone in their early 30s. LeBron, at 33, was leading the entire league in value and marching to the finals. He wasn't hanging on for one last run. He was still, flatly, the best player alive. The advanced numbers. Here's where it goes from great to historic. His player efficiency rating was 28.6, second in the NBA. His win shares, 14, second in the NBA. And in the two metrics that capture total all-around value, box plus minus at 8.7 and value over replacement at 8.2, he didn't finish second. He led the entire league in both at age 33. Let that sink in. Value over replacement and box plus minus are the numbers analysts use to ask one question. How much better than a replacement player did you make your team? In his 15th season, deep into his 30s, when stars are supposed to be fading, LeBron was the single most valuable player in basketball by those measures. That doesn't happen. Careers don't peak in value at 33. His did. Again. And the honors backed it up. He finished MVP runner-up to James Harden, made the All-NBA first team, and was named the All-Star Game MVP. So even in a season people remember mostly for the playoffs, the league still recognized he was, at worst, the second best regular season player alive. And by the value metrics, the best. Then the playoffs began. And the playoffs are where 2018 LeBron becomes a legend. Across 22 postseason games, he averaged 34 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists, while playing nearly 42 minutes a night. He barely came off the floor, and he did it carrying the weakest supporting cast of his entire Cleveland return. A roster reshuffled at midseason, with him as almost the entire offense. And this is the part the box score can't fully show. That Cavs team had no second star. After a mid-season roster teardown, LeBron was the engine, the closer, the playmaker, and often the best defender, all at once for 42 minutes a game, for 3 straight rounds. He didn't have a co-pilot. He flew the entire plane to the finals by himself. The run, round by round. Round 1 against the Indiana Pacers, and it nearly went wrong. The 8th-seeded Pacers pushed Cleveland to a full 7 games. The first time in LeBron's career, he faced a Game 7 in the very first round. His answer was 45 points with 8 rebounds and 7 assists to win it. No panic, no excuses. The biggest game of the series, and he delivered his biggest number. Round 2 was a statement. Toronto was the number 1 seed in the entire Eastern Conference, a 59-win team built specifically to finally get past him. LeBron swept them 4 straight games, and he sealed Game 3 with one of the most iconic shots of his career, a running bank shot at the buzzer to win it at the horn. He didn't just beat the top seed, he broke them. The conference finals against Boston went the full 7, and LeBron even fell behind 2-0. Then he dragged Cleveland all the way back and closed it out on the road in one of the toughest road environments in the sport. 35 points, 15 rebounds, 9 assists in Game 7 in Boston to reach the finals. A road Game 7 is the hardest thing to do in basketball, and he made it look routine. Game 1 of the finals, against a stacked Golden State super team, LeBron dropped 51 points on 19 of 32 shooting, with 8 rebounds and 8 assists. It's one of the greatest individual games in finals history. The cruel part, Cleveland lost it in overtime after a late mix-up, wasting one of the best performances the finals has ever seen. And here's the toughness behind that 51-point night. After it slipped away in overtime, a furious LeBron punched a whiteboard in the locker room and seriously injured his right shooting hand, a deep bone contusion. He later said he basically played the last 3 games of the finals with a broken hand, and he kept it hidden until the series was over. No excuse, no leak. He just kept playing. So let's actually talk about clutch, because this run is the case for it. A buzzer-beating bank shot to bury the number 1 seed, a 45-point Game 7 to survive round 1, a 35, 15, and 9 to win a Game 7 on the road in Boston, and a 51-point finals masterpiece on a hand he'd just broken. In the biggest moments of the entire postseason, the games where one bad night ends your season, LeBron didn't shrink. He took the hardest shots in the hardest games, and he made them. That is what carrying a team in the clutch actually looks like. Run the Toronto buzzer beater back in slow motion, because it's the signature clutch shot of the whole run. Game 3, Cavs and Raptors tied, the final seconds bleeding off the clock. LeBron catches it, drives to his right, and from just inside the foul line, he rises into a running one-handed floater and banks it off the glass as the horn sounds. Cleveland wins 105-103. It was the 5th game-winning buzzer beater of his playoff career. And clutch isn't only about the shots that go in. Game 1 of the finals is the cruelest example of how good he was, and how alone. He'd poured in 51, and Cleveland was tied with Golden State, 107 all, in the final seconds. George Hill went to the line, made the first to tie it, then missed the second. J.R. Smith grabbed the rebound, and seemingly thinking the Cavs were already ahead, dribbled out the clock instead of shooting. It went to overtime, the Warriors pulled away, and one of the greatest individual finals games ever was simply wasted. LeBron did his job in the clutch. The people around him couldn't finish it. The bigger picture. And 2018 wasn't a one-off peak. It was his 8th straight trip to the NBA Finals, 2011 all the way through 2018. For a 90s fan, here's the scale of that. Nobody had reached 8 consecutive finals since the Bill Russell Celtics of the 1960s. He carried a team to the championship round 8 years in a row against everything the league could throw at him. And when the games mattered most, no one in history had ever scored more. By 2018, LeBron was the all-time leading scorer in NBA playoff history, having already passed Michael Jordan himself. Then he went out and led the entire 2018 playoffs in total points, 748 of them. The all-time postseason scoring king, still leading the whole league in scoring in his 15th season. Now hear it from the people who were there. Start with his own head coach, Tyronn Lue, before that Game 7 in Boston. Borrowing a line from Coach Doc Rivers, Lue said it without blinking. Quote, "You always want to go into a Game 7 with the best player, and we have the best player in the world." Then LeBron walked into Boston and backed it up with 35, 15, and 9. The numbers tell one story. The people who had to defend him tell another. Luol Deng, who chased him for years, put the feeling perfectly. Quote, "LeBron's 30 or 40 points seemed like 60 points, especially when you got home and watched the highlights. Every basket felt like it counted double." Andre Iguodala won a Finals MVP specifically for his defense on LeBron and faced him in 4 straight finals, including 2018. Ask him what made James the hardest cover in the league, and it wasn't the scoring. Quote, "I go with LeBron because he raises the level of play for the other 4 guys on his team." Stephen Curry, his greatest rival, the man who beat him in that 2018 series, still talks about him with something close to awe. Quote, "It doesn't matter how great a defense you play on him. The sheer strength and power to get to the basket. You need all 5 guys every night. The only way to slow him was with the whole team, and even that barely worked." And maybe the simplest summary came from Giannis Antetokounmpo, himself a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year. When he was asked point blank, "How do you stop LeBron James?" he didn't give a scheme or a strategy. He gave 2 words: "You can't." Now the honest ending. This story doesn't finish with a ring. The Warriors swept Cleveland in the finals because that Golden State team was an all-time juggernaut, and LeBron's supporting cast simply couldn't hang. So 2018 wasn't a championship season, but individually, a 51-point finals game, a 34-9-9 playoff run, and leading the league in value at 33, it might be the most impressive he ever was, ring or not. So that's the case. All 82 games, league-leading value metrics, a 34 points a night playoff run, a 51-point finals masterpiece, and opponents who flat out said you couldn't stop him, all at age 33. So I'll ask you, was 2018 the best LeBron James ever was? Drop your take below, and if you want more deep dives on the legends, subscribe and join the family.